and welcome to this video. Today we will see how we can do this chart, okay, with SwiftUI. So this is the most favorite sport in Canada, okay. So we can see that each sport is represented by a color. As you can see, basketball is the blue color, okay. The hockey is green and soccer is orange, okay. So we'll see in this video how to do this chart, okay. Okay, enough talking, let's jump into our code. Okay, here I have an empty project, okay. As you can see, we simply have this image and this test, okay. Let's add a new model, okay, because we need a model for our view, okay. So we will call it sport. So let me create a struct here. We can simply call it sport. And what do we want in this model? Well, the first thing we want is an ID. So let's add it. Let ID equal UI ID. And we also want the name of the sport, okay. So let name is going to be a string. And last but not least, we want a percentage. Okay, perfect. Now that we have our model, what we can do, we can add our mock data, okay, because we need this data, okay. So let us come here on this content view, okay. Let me make some space here, and we want to add our mock data, okay. So what we can do this add state. It's going to be a state variable. And we can call it sport data. For the type, it's going to be an array of sport, okay. And for our data, what we can do, we can add this init. The first one is basketball. For the percentage, we can do 10, okay. Now for the next one, we can add a hockey. So that init, the name hockey, and for the percentage 50. And let's add the last one, that init. For the name, we will call it soccer, and for the percentage, it's going to be 40, okay. So that's it for our model and our mock view, okay. So here we simply added this model, this sport model, and I think we forgot to also implement identifiable here. Okay, so we have our model and here we have our mock data, okay. So now let's jump into this view, okay. Okay, for our chart, what we can do, we can replace this v stack, okay, and we can add our chart. Okay, here we have an error, cannot find chart in scope, okay. It's simply because we did not import this. So let me fix this. Import charts, and normally the error should go away. Perfect. Okay, so now we have this chart. What we want to do, we want to provide the data, okay. So we want to tell this chart to come and take the data from this variable, okay, from this sport data, okay. So let me copy this, and inside this chart we want to provide this data, okay. So this basketball, hockey, and soccer, okay. And now we can simply add a section mark, okay. So let's do that. Let's add section mark, and for the section mark we need an angle. So let me add this angle, and here for the value, we want the value to be the name of the sport, okay. So for the value, let's add a test. Data.name, but I forgot to specify that here we need the data, okay, data in, and here what we want this data, the name of this data, okay. And for the value, we want the percentage, okay. So we want data.percentage. Perfect. Let me close this for you guys to see better. So here, only by adding this sector mark, okay, we have a chart, okay. I don't know if you guys can see, but here we have a gray portion, okay. We have a basketball, hockey, and soccer, okay, but we are not able to see it. Let me zoom in to see if we can see it. And if you pay attention, you can see this tiny line, okay. So it's very tiny, so we are not able to really see it. So what we can do, we can increase the width of this, okay. So how do we do that? In order to increase this width, what we can do, we can add another property, and we call it angular inset, okay. For now, we can put the value of 2. Okay, so if I put 2, now you can clearly see the distinction between basketball, hockey, and soccer. Okay, and you can play around with this value. So if I put 9, you can see that it will increase. Okay, for the sake of this video, we can put maybe 2. Yeah, I think 2 is okay. The next thing we want to do, we want to add this color. Okay, because right now everything is in blue, but we don't want this. We want to have a specific color for our data set. Okay, so for basketball we want a different color, hockey a different color. So how do we do that? How can we add a specific color? What we can do is to add a foreground style. Okay, so here on this section mark, we can come and add this foreground style. So for the style, what we want this to be by the value. Okay, so here for the value we can put our name. So the value key will be the name, so we can simply put name. And for the actual value, we want to have this data dot name. And now look at that, everything, we have a specific color for our basketball, for our hockey, and our soccer. Okay, so this foreground style, what is it? So it will simply add a style to our chart. Okay, so as you can see here, this name is simply for impaired people. Let's say your app is used by someone who is visually impaired. So here we provide this name simply to specify what is this chart about. Okay, so here our chart is divided by name. Okay, for example, in this portion the name will be basketball. Okay, for this portion the name is hockey, and for this portion the name is soccer. Okay, so we split it by name and we provide the data. Okay, so it's simple as that. Now what we want to do, maybe we want to add this on those value. Okay, because we want to specify the percentage. Okay, so how do we add this percentage? Well, to add the percentage is easy. What we can do here, after this we can also add an annotation. Okay, and for this annotation, what we want to add a test. So here we can add this test. And for the value of our test, what we can do for now, let's simply put something like value. And let's see. Okay, you can see that it add our value here. Okay, it does not add it to our chart. Okay, so how can we fix this one? In order to fix this, here on this annotation we can specify the position. Okay, so here position, and we want to say that we want an overlay position. Overlay, and if I put overlay, here we go. You can see that now it will just put it on top of our chart. Okay, for each section it will simply put it on top of it. Okay, so this is the overlay property. And now we don't want this to be black, we want it to be white. So let me add the foreground style, and we want the color white, and this guy return white. Okay, perfect. And we can also play with the font. So here for the font, what we want a font, let's say headline. Okay, yeah, I think this looks good. And now for our value, what we want for our value here, instead of this value, we don't want to hard code this, but we want to take the data from our mock data. Okay, so we say this data, and we want to get the percentage. Okay, here it's giving me an error because this percentage is a I think we declare it as a double. Okay, but here it's looking for a string, so we can convert this to a string. Let me add this string, and we want to wrap this data percentage inside our string. So normally it's supposed to show us the data. Okay, so perfect. We can see now we have this double. Okay, but we don't want this .0 at the end. Okay, so what we want to do here, we want to format this. Okay, because this is a double, so we have to format it into a percentage. Okay, how do we do that? Here inside our string we can specify the format. Okay, so for the format we want is a percentage format. Okay, so for the format we say percentage .0f, and the next parameter we want to provide this. Okay, and if I do that, you can see that the .0 is gone. Okay, everywhere. Okay, so everything is looking good. The only thing we want to do, this one looks a little bit too big. So what we can do, we can reduce the size. Okay, to make it smaller. Okay, so how do we do that? In order to do that, what we can do, we can come on this chart. So here, okay, here we go. So on this chart we can specify the frame. Okay, for the frame, the height we want it to be, let's say 500. and now we want to give it a padding. Let me add a padding here. Okay, I think this looks good. The only thing left here is this section, okay, because you can see that this one stand out from the others. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we set this section to stand out from the others? In order to do that, we need to add a property. Okay, so here after this angular insert, what we can do, we can add another property, and we will call it outer radius. Okay, so here we need a condition, because we need to specify that we only want this part. Okay, we only want this basketball part to stand out. Okay, so how do we do that? In order to do that, here on this outer radius, what we can do, we can say that, okay, if this data, that name is equal to basketball, so if this condition is true, the value we want is 150. Okay, and if this condition is not true, the value we want is 120. Okay, so this will give the value of 120 to this one, hockey and soccer. Okay, because hockey and soccer, the name doesn't match this basketball. Okay, and when we will get to this basketball, it will give the value of 150. Okay, and here we have an error. Let's see, argument outer must be preceded. Okay, so yeah, it's because I'm supposed to add this property before this angular insert. Okay, so let me fix this right quick, and normally the error should go away, and yeah, we can remove this comma. Okay, and let's see, and we can see that it's not working. So what did we do wrong? Okay, I think, okay, it's my bad, guys, because I misspelled this basketball. Let me fix this, and let's see. And normally it's supposed to work now. Let me refresh this preview. Okay, here we go. You can see that now it's working. Okay, so that's how you can build this chart. Okay, and yeah, the last thing we can do is simply add this title. Okay, so how can we do that? We can simply come here and wrap this into a vstack. Okay, and now inside this vstack, we can add another test, and we call it Canadian's favorite sport. Okay, so yeah, I think it's looking good, and that's it for this video. Let me just run the app now, and yeah, it looks amazing. Okay, so that's it for this video. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If that's the case, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.